At the table in front of her friends, my daughter whispered to me, "Dad, you are my stress. Tomorrow, you are out." I did not ask for explanations. I did not cry. I just went upstairs. I packed 2 changes of clothes in a grocery bag, and I left. At 11 at night, 79 years old, homeless, she thought she had destroyed me. But she did not know what I was hiding on the other side of the city, nor what that night was going to change forever. If this story moves something in you, subscribe. Every day there is a story that could be yours. Tell us where you are watching from. My name is Edward. I am 79 years old. I am a widower. I was a history teacher for 42 years. And that night, sitting at my daughter Ashley's table, I understood that my life no longer mattered to anyone. It was Saturday. She had invited 6 people from her work, people who talked about 5-star hotels, foreign clients, and promotions. But I was there because she ordered me to be that morning. "Dad, if you come down, do not speak. Just serve yourself and shut up." I did not ask why. I did not ask anything anymore. Since Rebecca, my wife, died, I learned that it is better to be silent than to bother anyone. I put on a clean shirt. I combed my hair. I went down, and I sat at the end of the table, where no one had to look at me, where I could make myself invisible, because that was what Ashley wanted, for me to disappear without disappearing. The table smelled of expensive perfume and red wine. Ashley had put out the good plates, the ones she had kept since her wedding. There were candles, soft music, everything prepared to impress. I served myself a little salad. I chewed slowly, trying not to make noise, trying not to bother anyone with the sound of my existence. Next to me was Karen, the neighbor from the 4th floor, that woman who always looked at me with fake pity. "How are you?" She asked me with that sweet voice people use when they do not care about the answer. "I am fine, thank you," I said. She smiled and went back to talking to the others. No one else spoke a word to me. It was as if I were an old painting hanging on the wall. I was there, but no one noticed. No one wanted to see it. I just occupied space. And that was exactly what I was to Ashley. Occupied space. Ashley laughed a lot that night. Too much. I knew her. I knew that when she laughed like that, forced, it was because she was on the verge of collapse. That afternoon, her ex-husband, Gary, had called her asking for money again. I heard it from my room. "I have nothing to give you, Gary. Leave me alone." She hung up and stood in the hallway, breathing hard with her hands clenched. I went out to ask her if she was okay. She looked at me as if I had interrupted something sacred, as if my presence were an invasion. "Dad, go to your room." I said nothing. I just went back. I closed the door, and I sat on the bed staring at the wall, wondering when I had stopped being her father and become her burden. Was it when Rebecca died, or was it before? Was it gradual, or was there a specific day when I stopped mattering to her? I did not know. I only knew that it hurt. It hurt like it hurts to feel invisible in your own family. During dinner, one of the guests told a joke about an old man who got lost in the supermarket. Everyone laughed. I smiled too, even though I did not understand the punchline. Although I knew the joke was about people like me, old nuisances confused. Ashley filled her wine glass for the 3rd time. Her hands were trembling a little. Karen leaned toward her and said in a low but audible voice, "Oh, Ashley, it must be exhausting having your dad at home all day. I sent my mother to a home years ago. It was the best for everyone." Ashley did not respond. She only nodded slightly, like someone receiving advice they had already considered, like someone who had already investigated options. I gripped my fork. I felt something hot rise up my chest, a mixture of rage and shame. But I said nothing, because I knew that if I spoke, she was going to silence me in front of everyone, and that humiliation would have been worse than the silence. Then the moment arrived. Dessert time. Someone had brought cake. Ashley served. I did not want any. "I am not hungry," I said. She did not even look at me. She just left the plate in front of me and kept talking to her guests, as if I had not spoken, as if I did not exist. I drank a sip of wine. It It was warm, bitter. I looked toward the hallway looking for Lily. My granddaughter had not come down. Again. Every time Ashley received people, Lily locked herself in her room. And I knew why. Because my granddaughter hated those fake meetings. Because she was the only one in that house who still looked me in the eyes. Who still asked me how I was. Who still hugged me when she came home from the market. But that night, not even Lily came down. And that hurt me more than everything else, because it meant that Ashley was also pushing her away from me. Little by little, with orders disguised as suggestions. I looked at my plate, the untouched cake, and I remembered. Ashley was 7 years old. We had come to this table. Rebecca had made her birthday cake. Chocolate, her favorite. Ashley blew out the candles, made 3 wishes, and then ran to me. Dad, make a wish with me. And I asked, that you always be happy, my love. She smiled. She hugged me with those small arms that barely went around my neck and said, I just want you to be with me always. Always, Dad. Forever. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath, and I returned to the present, to this table, where that same girl, now a 43-year-old woman, had just told me that I was extra, that I should leave, that tomorrow, like someone asking to take out the trash. And I wondered, at what moment did that little girl break, or was it me who broke? Ashley got up to pour herself more wine. When she returned, she leaned toward me. I looked up. Her eyes were red, shiny, tired, glassy from the alcohol and from something else, from years of accumulated resentment. She stared at me and said in a low but clear voice, with that coldness that is only learned with practice, Dad, you are my stress. Tomorrow, you are out. Some of the guests heard her. One laughed nervously, not knowing if it was a joke. Another coughed and looked away uncomfortable. Karen raised her eyebrows with a knowing smile, like someone saying it was about time. Well done. I stayed still, the fork still in my hand, the wine half drunk, my heart beating slowly as if it also wanted to give up. I did not ask where. I did not ask for explanations. I did not beg, because I understood. There were no longer explanations. There was only tiredness. There was only rejection. There was only that sentence that split me in two, and that finally showed me what I had always feared, that my daughter no longer loved me. Maybe she never did. I finished chewing, slowly, calmly, as if nothing had happened. I left the fork on the plate without making noise. I wiped my mouth with a napkin. I folded it. I left it next to the plate. I got up slowly. My knees cracked. No one looked at me. Everyone kept talking, laughing, drinking, as if I were no longer there, as if I had already gone. I pushed the chair carefully, without making noise, because even in my exit I wanted to be invisible, not to bother, not to make them uncomfortable. I walked toward the stairs, and while I went up holding onto the handrail, because my legs no longer responded like before, I thought, this is the last time I climb these stairs, the last time I hear the laughter of her guests, the last time I smell the expensive perfume of this house. Because I knew that if I left, I was not going to return. Because I knew that my daughter was not kicking me out for a few days. She was erasing me from her life, and I, for the first time in 3 years, was not going to beg her to let me stay. This time, I was going to leave before she threw me out officially. This time, I was going to go with the little I had left. Dignity. I entered my room, that room that used to be the storage room, the room for things that are no longer useful. That is where Ashley kept the Christmas boxes, the old suitcases, the things she no longer used, and then she stored me. Among the boxes, among the oblivion, I opened the closet. I took out a grocery bag, one of those green plastic ones that one keeps just in case. I put in 2 pairs of pants, 3 shirts, underwear, my blood pressure, pills, my ID, my notebook, where I wrote down important things. Things I did not want to forget, because at 79 years old, one starts to forget. And I did not want to forget who I had been, and a photo of Rebecca. The photo was from 50 years ago. We were at the beach. She was smiling. I was too. We seemed immortal. We seemed invincible. It seemed that nothing could separate us. But it separated us. Death. And then loneliness. I looked at it for a moment. I touched her face with my finger. "What do I do, my love?" I asked her in a low voice. "Where do I go?" She did not answer. She never answered. She only looked at me, with that eternal smile, with that frozen youth. I put the photo away. I closed the bag. I put on my coat, the same one I used when I went to work, when I was still someone. And I left. I went down the stairs. Every step creaked, as if the house were also saying goodbye. I passed in front of the living room. The guests were still there, talking, laughing. Someone was telling a joke. Everyone laughed. Ashley had her back turned serving coffee. She was wearing the black dress that Rebecca had given her, the last gift. And she did not even know it. No one saw me. Or maybe they saw me and they did not care. Or maybe they were happy. Finally, the old man is leaving. I opened the apartment door. The hallway was empty, illuminated by those white lights that buzz, that never turn off, that illuminate, but do not warm. I closed the door slowly, without slamming it, without drama, like someone closing a chapter that no longer makes sense to read, like someone closing a book that ended badly. I walked toward the elevator. I pressed the button. I waited. I heard the laughter behind the door, more and more distant. The elevator doors opened. I entered. I saw my reflection in the metal. An old man with slumped shoulders, wet eyes, a bag in his hand. A man who no longer had a home. The doors closed. I went down, and with every floor that passed, I felt that I was leaving behind not only an apartment. I was leaving behind a whole life. A daughter, an illusion, a love that was never returned. When I left the building, the cold air hit my face. Like a slap, like a reminder that the outside world was not going to be kinder than the inside one. Nathan, the neighbor from the second floor, was smoking by the door. He was a 64-year-old man, ex-military, one of those who speak little but see everything, who do not ask but understand. He looked at me. I looked back at him. He put out the cigarette against the wall, calmly, like someone who has all the time in the world. He nodded with his head. Slowly, with respect. He said nothing. It was not necessary, because in that gesture was everything. I know what happened. I listened. I saw. And I do not blame you. And if I could, I would help you. But I cannot. I can only watch you leave and wish you luck. I also nodded. I returned the gesture, like telling him thank you for seeing me, for not judging me, for not laughing. And I kept walking. The street was empty. It was cold. The wind moved the dry leaves. They made noise, like whispers, like voices telling me there is no turning back. I clutched the bag against my chest, and I walked, without looking back, because I knew that if I looked, maybe I would regret it. Maybe I would return. Maybe I would beg. And there was no time for regrets anymore. There was no space for humiliation anymore. I walked 2 blocks to the bus stop, 2 blocks that seemed like 2 miles, because every step hurt, not in my legs, in my soul. There was a frozen metal bench. I sat down. The cold went through my coat. The wind whistled between the buildings like a lament, like a sad song that no one wanted to hear. A taxi passed, free, with the light on. I did not call it. I did not have money to waste on taxis. And besides, what for? I was in no hurry. I had no destination. I only had an address, a name, a hope. A young couple passed, hugging, laughing. He whispered something in her ear. She laughed. They kissed. I looked away, not out of envy, out of pain, because I remembered when I hugged Rebecca like that, when we walked down the street holding hands, when we were still happy, when it still mattered, when we still had a future. Now it did not matter anymore. Now the future had ended. Now I was an old man sitting on a bench with a grocery bag, waiting for a bus to take him nowhere, or maybe somewhere. I still did not know. And while I waited, I asked myself, where does a man go when he no longer has a home? Where does he go when his own daughter tells him he is a nuisance? The bus arrived at 11:32, line 47. I know because I looked at the clock on the post 3 times, as if looking at the clock could stop time, as if it could delay the inevitable. That bus crossed the whole city, from downtown to New Hope, the neighborhood where I lived more than 40 years ago, when I was still young, when I still had a future, when Rebecca and I had just gotten married and everything was possible. I got on slowly. My knees no longer responded like before. Every step was an effort, a negotiation with a body that no longer obeyed me. I grabbed the handrail tightly because I was afraid of falling, and even more afraid that no one would pick me up. The driver looked up. He was a man of about 50, with a thick mustache and a worn blue uniform. He stared at me. He frowned, as if trying to place me, and then he opened his eyes. Mr. Edward. I looked at him. It took me a second. Patrick Miller, my student, 30 years ago. He sat in the back. He drew in the margins of his notebooks, maps, battles, ancient cities. But he was intelligent, very intelligent. One of those students one never forgets. It is me, Mr. Edward. I cannot believe it is you. His voice held surprise and something else. Concern, tenderness, like someone seeing an old friend who is doing badly. He looked at the bag in my hand, the green grocery bag, cheap. He looked at my face, my swollen eyes, my wrinkled clothes, my old coat, and he understood. I did not ask how. Sometimes people know. They just know. Because pain can be seen. It can be smelled. It can be felt. Get on, Mr. Edward, and put your money away. You do not pay me. I tried to protest, to take out my wallet, to do the right thing. No, Patrick, He raised his hand, firm. You taught me to read maps. You taught me that history is not just dates, it is people. People who suffer. People who fight. People like you. This is the least I can do. Please, let me do this. I nodded. My chin was trembling. I felt like I was going to cry. But I held it in. Because one does not cry on the bus. One does not cry in front of strangers. Although Patrick was no longer a stranger, he was a reminder of when I still mattered, of when I was still someone. I walked to the back, slowly, holding on to the seats. I sat in the last seat, next to the window. I put the bag on my lap. I hugged it, as if it were the only thing I had left in the world, because it was the only thing I had left. Patrick started driving. The engine roared, and I looked out the window, watching the city pass by, watching my life pass by. The city passed slowly. Tall buildings with dark windows, lives lit up behind closed curtains, people having dinner, watching television, laughing, living, closed businesses with metal gates, graffiti on the walls, trash on the corners, empty streets illuminated by orange streetlights that flickered, about to go out, like me. I recognized some corners. The bakery where Rebecca bought bread on Sundays, closed now, with a for sale sign. The park where I took Ashley when she was a little girl, dark, empty, with rusty playground equipment. Other corners I did not recognize. Everything had changed. New buildings where there used to be houses, parking lots where there used to be squares, or maybe I was the one who no longer belonged, the one who had remained trapped in another time. I looked at my reflection in the glass, a wrinkled old man with tired eyes, a 2-day beard, messy hair. When did I get so old? I do not know. One does not realize it. It is gradual. One day you wake up, you look in the mirror, and you see your father, and then you understand. You have already crossed to the other side. You are already the old man people avoid on the bus, the one who smells of medicine, the one who coughs too much, the one who talks to himself. You are already the one who bothers just by existing, the one who is extra. The bus stopped, brakes screeching, doors opening with a tired sigh. A young woman got on with a sleeping baby in her arms. She must have been about 25, hair tied back, tired face, simple clothes. She sat in the front. The baby did not wake up. He had his mouth open, his little hands closed. The woman rocked him gently with that tenderness that only mothers have. That automatic movement, unconscious, that pure love that asks for nothing in return. I looked at her, and I felt something sharp in my chest. A physical pain. Real. Because I remembered when Ashley was like that. Small, defenseless, perfect. When she needed me for everything. To eat, to sleep, to laugh. When I was her hero. Her whole world. Dad, carry me. Dad, tell me a story. Dad, I am scared. Do not go. And I never left. I stayed by her bed until she fell asleep. I sang her songs. I invented stories for her. When did she stop needing me? When did I go from being her hero to being her burden? Was it when she grew up? Was it when she got married? Was it when Lily was born? Or was it when Rebecca died, and there was no longer anyone to remind her that I also deserved love? The bus started moving. The woman got off 3 stops later. The baby was still asleep, and I kept looking out the window, watching my life pass by, watching everything I lost pass by. Patrick watched me through the rearview mirror. I saw him. Our eyes met every so often. He looked away. I did too. But we both knew. I knew he wanted to ask. He wanted to know what an old man like me was doing alone, with a grocery bag, at 11 at night. He wanted to know if I was okay, if I had somewhere to go, if I needed help, but he did not ask, and I thanked him in silence, with every mile that passed, because there are questions that open wounds, that force you to say out loud what one can barely think, and mine were still fresh. They were still bleeding. They still hurt with every breath. The bus continued its route, slow, tired, like me. We passed through wide avenues, deserted, through neighborhoods I used to know, where I had lived, where I had worked, where I had been happy, through places where I was no longer welcome, where I no longer belonged. And then we arrived at St. Vincent's Hospital, that white building that took everything from me. Rebecca had died there 3 years ago. 3 years, 2 months, and 14 days. But who was counting? And instinctively I closed my eyes, squeezing them shut, as if that could erase the image, as if that could erase the memory. I did not want to see. I did not want to remember, but I could not avoid it. The hospital was still there, white, cold, imposing, with that red cross on the facade that promised salvation but only delivered goodbyes. Rebecca had died on the 3rd floor, room 312. I knew the number by memory, just like I knew her date of birth, her favorite food, the perfume she used, pancreatic cancer. Fast, brutal, without mercy. They gave her 6 months. She lived 4, and every day was worse than the one before. The last few days she no longer spoke. She just looked at me, with those eyes that said everything she could no longer say with words. I love you. Forgive me. Take care. Do not forget me. And I held her hand, skinny, cold, transparent. I told her she was going to be okay, that we were going to get out of this together, that the medicine was going to work, that God was going to perform a miracle. But we both knew the truth. We both knew it was a lie, that we only had hours left, minutes, seconds. And when she closed her eyes for the last time, when her hand went limp in mine, when the monitor stopped making noise, and only that long, constant beep remained, I stayed there, sitting by her bed, not knowing how to go on, not knowing what to go on for, because Rebecca was not just my wife. She was my reason, my compass, my home. And without her, I was just a man waiting to die, waiting for them to call me, waiting to reunite with her. I opened my eyes when the bus passed the hospital. I took a deep breath. The air burned my lungs. Patrick looked at me in the mirror. This time he did not look away. He held my gaze, with those eyes that understood, that knew, that did not judge, and in that silence, in that mute exchange, I understood. He knew. He knew something bad had happened. He knew I was running away. He knew I was broken. But he did not judge. He did not feel pity. He just drove. He just took me. He just gave me space to breathe. And that, in some strange way, in some way I cannot explain, gave me the strength to continue, to not give up, to not throw myself off the moving bus and let myself die in the street. The bus kept moving forward. We passed through neighborhoods I no longer recognized, new buildings where there used to be humble houses, giant supermarkets where there used to be corner stores with owners who knew you by name. Everything different, everything alien, everything hostile, as if the city were telling me, "You no longer belong here. Your time has passed. There is no place for you anymore." At a stop, a boy got on with his grandfather. The boy must have been about 8 years old, messy hair, backpack with wheels. The grandfather must have been about 70, white hair, cane, plaid shirt. The boy held his hand, tightly, like someone who does not want to let go. He helped him up. "Slowly, Grandpa. One step at a time." He looked for a seat for him. "Sit here. This is the best one." And the grandfather smiled, grateful, loved, needed. I watched them, and I felt a stab in my chest that almost doubled me over, because I had also been that grandfather. Lily used to hold my hand. She waited for me after school. She ran to me screaming, "Grandpa." She asked me things. "Grandpa, why is the sky blue? Grandpa, when are we going to the park? Grandpa, do you love me?" And I always answered, "More than anything in the world, my love." When had I stopped doing that? When had she stopped waiting for me? When had she stopped running to me? Or had it been Ashley who pushed her away from me, who told her not to look for me, who told her I was a nuisance I did not know? I only knew that the last time Lily hugged me was months ago, 4 months and something, and that I missed those hugs more than I could admit, more than I could bear. The boy and his grandfather got off 2 stops later. The boy helped him down. "Careful, Grandpa." And I stayed there, watching them walk away, wishing I were that grandfather, wishing I had a grandchild who loved me, who took care of me, who needed me. The trip took 53 minutes. I know because I counted every minute, looking at the clock on the bus, watching the numbers change, because every minute that passed was a minute further away from Ashley, a minute further away from that table where they told me I was extra, a minute closer to what I did not know. I just knew I had to get away. The bus emptied out. The woman with the baby got off. A group of young people, too, noisy, laughing, smelling of alcohol and cheap perfume. A drunk man who got on halfway through, stumbling, talking to himself. In the end, only I remained. And Patrick, alone in that empty bus crossing the sleeping city. He slowed down, slower than normal, like giving me time, like waiting for me to change my mind. He looked in the mirror. "Mr. Edward, are you sure you're going to be okay?" His voice held genuine concern. Real, not fake. I nodded. I tried to smile, but it did not come out. "Yes, Patrick, thank you. Thank you for everything." He did not seem convinced. He looked at me like someone looks at a person who is about to do something irreversible, but he did not insist. He just kept driving, slowly, until the end, until the last stop, until where the line ended, until where the city ended, until where maybe my new life began, or where the one I had ended. New hope. Last stop. Patrick's voice sounded tired, hoarse, as if he too were reaching the end of something. He stopped the bus. The engine turned off. The silence was deafening. I got up slowly, holding on to the seat in front. My knees cracked, protested. I hurt. Everything hurt. I walked toward the door. Every step was an effort. Patrick turned in his seat. He looked at me, with those eyes full of something I could not identify. Pity, respect, fear. Mr. Edward, my number is on the company poster. If you need anything. Anything at all. Call me. At any time. Seriously. I nodded. I wanted to say something. I wanted to thank him. I wanted to tell him that he had been a good student, that I remembered him, that I was glad to see him doing well. But the words did not come out. They got stuck in my throat. I just nodded again. Like a fool. Like an old man who no longer knows how to speak. And I got off. The cold of the night hit my face. Like a punch. The bus started behind me. I heard the engine moving away. I saw the red lights moving away. Like two red eyes watching me. And then I was left alone. In the middle of an empty street. Dark. Cold. With a bag in my hand. And nowhere to go. Except one place. The only place where maybe I still mattered. The only place where maybe someone still remembered me. New Hope. The neighborhood of my youth. From when everything was possible. From when I still had dreams. Cobblestone streets uneven that made you trip. Old streetlights that still worked with yellowish light. Weak. Flickering. Low houses with rusty bars. Neglected gardens. Dogs barking. It smelled of bread. Of freshly baked bread. That unmistakable smell that takes you back to childhood. And then I remembered Betty, Joe's Bakery, where Rebecca bought bread every Sunday, and if Betty was still there, then Oliver too, Oliver Stone, my best friend since we were 17, since we were young and stupid, and believed we were immortal. We had lost touch 8 years ago, when I moved in with Ashley, when I thought it was the right thing, when I still believed my daughter needed me, when I still believed family was forever. But Oliver lived here. In the house with the blue door, house number 47. I knew it because I used to live 3 blocks away, in a house that no longer exists, that they demolished to make a parking lot. I walked, slowly, dragging my feet, clinging to the bag as if it were a life preserver. The streets were dark, empty. Only the wind could be heard, and my footsteps, and my breathing. But I knew them by memory. Every corner, every tree, every crack in the pavement. Because here I had been happy. Here I had been young. Here, maybe, I could be someone again. I arrived at the house, faded blue door, bluer in my memory than in reality, peeling paint falling off in pieces, windows with white curtains, yellowed by time, light on inside. Someone was awake. Someone lived there. I took a deep breath. The air burned my lungs. I raised my hand. It was trembling, and I knocked. Once, soft, almost inaudible. I waited. Nothing. I knocked again, harder. 2 dry knocks that resonated in the night. Silence. And then I heard slow steps, dragging, someone walking with difficulty. Someone old, like me. The door opened, slowly, creaking. And there he was, Oliver, 81 years old, 2 more than me, but he looked 100. White hair, whiter than I remembered, thick glasses, old blue striped pajamas, worn out, with holes. He looked at me, squinting his eyes. It took him 3 seconds, maybe 4, like trying to place me, like searching his memory. And then he recognized me. His eyes opened wide, his mouth too. But he said nothing. He asked nothing. He did not say, "What are you doing here?" He did not say what happened. He did not say, "Are you okay?" He just opened the door wider with that universal gesture of welcome, of acceptance, of brotherhood. Enter. It was not a question. It was an order full of understanding, of love, of that which only old friends understand without the need for words. I entered. I crossed the threshold. And it was like crossing from one world to another, from darkness to light, from cold to warmth, from loneliness to company. Oliver closed the door behind me, carefully, like closing the door to the past, like protecting the present. And for the first time in 3 years, since Rebecca died, I felt I had come home, to a place where I did not have to apologize for existing, to a place where I still mattered, to a place where, maybe, I could live again. Oliver closed the door behind me. He said nothing. He just walked toward the kitchen. I remained standing in the hallway, holding the bag, not knowing what to do. The house smelled old, of medicine, of stop time. Everything was the same as 40 years ago. The dark wood table, the pendulum clock that no longer worked, the picture of the Virgin on the wall. But there was something new, something that was not there before. On the table, next to a glass of water, there was a bottle of pills, morphine. I recognized it because Rebecca took them at the end. Oliver returned with 2 steaming cups, chamomile tea. "Sit down." His voice sounded tired, more tired than I remembered. I sat down. Oliver sat in front of me, with difficulty. I saw how he held onto the edge of the table, how he made a face of pain. "Are you okay?" I asked. He nodded, but he did not convince me. "Oliver, those pills—" He looked down. He sighed. "Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. I have 3 months left, maybe 4 if I am lucky." I felt like I had been punched in the chest. My voice came out broken. Oliver took a sip of tea. "I was diagnosed 6 months ago. I did not want to tell anyone." "What for?" "There was nothing to be done anymore." I remained silent, looking at him. And then I understood. My only friend was also dying, and I did not even know. I stayed looking at him. Oliver, my friend. The one who taught me to play chess when we were 17. The one who accompanied me the day I got married. The one who cried with me when Rebecca died. And now he was telling me he was dying. And I had not been there. I had not known. I had not been able to say goodbye. "Oliver, forgive me." He shook his head. "There is nothing to forgive. I should have been there. You are here now, and that is the only thing that matters." I wiped my eyes, but the tears kept coming out, because I was losing everything. Rebecca, Ashley, Oliver, and I did not know how to keep losing and stay standing. "Why didn't you call me?" I asked, with rage and pain mixed together. Oliver looked at me. "I called your house 4 months ago," Ashley answered. "I told her I needed to talk to you, that it was urgent." He stopped. He took a breath. "She told me." "Oliver, my dad can no longer hang around with old friends. He is sick in the head. If you call again, I am going to report you for harassment." I felt something break inside me. What Oliver nodded. "I asked her to tell you that I had called." She laughed and hung up. I put my hands to my face. I could not breathe. Ashley had not only humiliated me, she had also cut my last tie with the world, with my past, with my life. I tried to call 2 more times. She always answered. The 3rd time she threatened to block the number. Oliver left the cup on the table. His hands were trembling. "Edward, your daughter not only kicked you out of her house, she erased you from your life." And then something inside me exploded. I stood up suddenly. The chair fell backward. "She had no right," I shouted. My voice sounded hoarse, desperate. "I took care of her. I gave her everything." Oliver said nothing. He just looked at me, with that look that those who understand pain have because they have also lived it. I walked in circles, hands on my head, breathing hard. Why did she do this to me? Oliver got up slowly. He came toward me. He put a hand on my shoulder. "Because tired people become cruel." "Edward, and your daughter is tired, but that justifies nothing." I shook my head. "I never hurt her. I never asked her for anything." Oliver squeezed my shoulder. "I know, but sometimes people do not need reasons to reject you. They just need space, and you occupied that space." I felt the tears fall, hot, angry. Rebecca was right, I murmured. Oliver frowned. "What, my wife? Before dying?" "She told me. Ashley is afraid of getting old, and because of that, one day she is going to be afraid of you." I did not believe her. I thought it was the grief talking. But she was right. Oliver let me go. He sat back down. "Edward, there is something else you have to know." I looked at him. "What else can there be?" He took a deep breath. My children do not speak to me either. It has been 3 years since I heard from them. When I told them I had cancer, they said, "Dad, you are already old. It is natural. Do not call us any more with those dramas." I felt a lump in my throat. "Oliver," he raised his hand, "do not pity me. I am telling you because you need to know something. You are not alone. There are thousands of old people like us, kicked out, forgotten, waiting to die without bothering anyone. And in that moment, in that old kitchen with that dying friend, I understood the most painful truth of all. Getting old is becoming invisible. I let myself fall into the chair, I put my hands on the table, and I cried, not with silent tears. I cried with sobs, with moans, with my mouth open and my chest shaking. I cried for Ashley, for Oliver, for Rebecca, for me, for all the old people in the world who die alone, feeling like nuisances. Oliver did not console me. He did not tell me everything was going to be okay. He just stayed there, sitting in front of me, waiting, because sometimes the best company is silence. And when I finally stopped crying, when I had no tears left, Oliver said, "There is a bed in the back room. The sheets are clean. Sleep. Tomorrow we continue." I got up as best I could. I grabbed the bag. I walked toward the back room. It was small, a bed, a closet, a window. I sat on the bed. The springs creaked. I looked at the ceiling. There were damp spots, a crack, and then I thought, why go on? Why wake up tomorrow if I matter to no one, if my own daughter hates me, if my best friend is dying, if my wife is dead? What for? I lay down. I closed my eyes. And I wished not to wake up. I wished sleep would take everything away. The pain, the shame, the loneliness. But it did not happen. I just slept. And I dreamed of Rebecca, of when we were still young, when we were still happy. I woke up startled. I do not know what time it was. It was dark. I heard a noise, a thud. It came from the living room. I got up. I left the room. Oliver was on the floor. He had tripped. He was trying to get up, but could not. Oliver, I ran to him. I helped him up. He weighed little, too little. "I am fine," he murmured, but he was not fine. He was shaking, sweating. I took him to the sofa. I sat him down. "Does it hurt?" He nodded. "It always hurts." I went for the pills. I gave them to him with water. I waited. Little by little, the shaking stopped. Oliver took a deep breath. "Thank you." I shook my head. "Do not thank me. You opened the door for me when no one else did." We stayed there, in silence. Oliver on the sofa, me sitting on the floor next to him. And then he said, "Edward, do not give up." I looked at him. "Why not?" He smiled. A sad smile. "Because giving up is proving right those who kicked you out. It is telling them, you were right. I am worth nothing." I swallowed hard. But what if it is true? What if I really am worth nothing? Oliver stared at me. "You are worth it. You are worth it because you are here. Because you helped me get up. Because you still cry. Those who are worth nothing no longer feel. You still feel. And that means you are still alive." I did not answer, but his words stayed with me, like a seed planted in dry earth. I went back to the room. I lay down again. But this time I did not wish to die. I only wished to wake up and find a reason to continue. A reason that was not Ashley, nor Rebecca, nor the past. A new reason, my reason. I closed my eyes, and I slept, deeply, without dreams. And when I woke up there was light, and Oliver was alive, and I was too. And that, for now, was enough. I woke up with the sun on my face. Everything hurt. My back, my knees, my soul. But I was alive. I got up. I went to the bathroom. I washed my face with cold water. I looked in the mirror. I was still an old man, but I no longer looked like a defeated old man. Just tired. I left the room. Oliver was already awake. He was in the kitchen, preparing coffee. He moved slowly, holding onto the furniture. "Good morning." I said. He turned around, he smiled. Good morning. Did you sleep? I nodded. Better than I expected. He served 2 cups. Good. Today we are going to the bakery. I need bread, and you need air. I did not argue. I just nodded. Because he was right. We had breakfast in silence. Toast with butter, bitter coffee. Simple. Perfect. When we finished, Oliver got up. Let's go. We went out. The street was quiet. The sun was still low. It was cool. We walked 3 blocks. Oliver with his cane. Me by his side, attentive in case he tripped. We arrived at the bakery, Joe's Bakery. The sign was worn. We entered, and there was Betty, a woman of about 60, with a white apron and a warm smile. She saw us enter, and she froze. Mr. Edward. Her voice held surprise, disbelief, and something else. Something I could not identify in that moment. But later I understood. It was pity. It is me, Betty, I said. She came closer, but she did not hug me as I expected. She just looked me up and down. What are you doing around here? Her tone was strange. Careful, like someone stepping on broken glass. He is staying with me for a few days. Oliver intervened. Betty nodded slowly. She kept looking at me, and then she said, Mr. Edward, does your daughter know you're here? I tensed. No. Why? Betty exchanged a look with Oliver. She came here like 2 years ago. She asked about you. I told her I had not seen you. I frowned. Ashley came here. Betty nodded. She said you had escaped, that you were senile, that if I saw you I should call her immediately. I felt something cold run down my back. What? Betty looked down. I did not believe her. You never seemed senile to me. But she insisted. She left me her number. She told me you were dangerous, that you could get lost, that you had to be returned. Oliver squeezed my arm, but I could not move. I could not breathe. That was 2 years ago, I murmured. Betty nodded. Yes, you still lived with her, didn't you? I nodded, and then I understood. Ashley had wanted me out for years. She was already planning how to get rid of me. She was just waiting for the moment, and that moment arrived last Saturday. When she finally told me to leave. When she finally executed the plan she had been building for years. Mr. Edward. Are you okay? Betty asked. I was not okay, but I nodded. Yes. Thank you for telling me. She sighed. I did not know whether to tell you, but I thought you had to know. She bought bread. Oliver paid. We left. We walked in silence. I was processing. Ashley had not kicked me out on impulse. It was not the stress of the moment. It was planned, calculated. She had wanted me gone for years, and she finally achieved it. And I, like a fool, thought she still loved me, that I was still her dad. But no, I was just a problem she had been postponing, until she could not take it anymore. We arrived at the house. We entered. I sat on the sofa. I put my head in my hands. Oliver sat next to me. Edward, do not say anything, I murmured. Just do not say anything. We stayed like that, in silence, until Oliver's phone rang. He looked at it. He frowned. It is a number I do not know, he answered. Hello. I heard a female voice on the other end, young, desperate. Oliver looked at me. It is for you. He passed me the phone. Hello, Grandpa. It was Lily, my granddaughter, but her voice sounded strange, broken. Lily? What is wrong, Grandpa? I ran away. I felt my heart stop. What? I ran away from home. I cannot stand Mom anymore. I hate her, Grandpa. I hate her. She was crying. I got up. Lily. Where are you? At the bus terminal. I took money from my piggy bank. I bought a ticket. I am coming there. How did you know where I am? I asked Patrick, the driver of the 47. He told me. I closed my eyes. Lily, you have to go back. No, I am not going back. Mom hit me, Grandpa. She hit me because I defended you. I felt rage, pure rage. She hit you. Yes. I told her you were a good man, that she had no right to kick you out, and she hit me. She told me I was ungrateful, that I knew nothing about life, if you are listening to my story. Leave me a comment telling me where you are watching from. Sometimes I need to know. I'm not alone in this. Lily, did the bus already leave? Yes. I arrive in an hour. I looked at Oliver. He nodded, as if saying, let her come. I sighed. Okay, come. But later, we talk to your mom. I do not want to talk to her. Lily? No, Grandpa. She kicked you out. She humiliated you, and I am never going to forgive her. She hung up. I stayed there with the phone in my hand. Oliver looked at me. What happened? Lily ran away. She is coming here. Ashley hit her. Oliver closed his eyes. My God. I nodded. This is going to get worse. An hour later, Lily arrived. She knocked on the door. I opened, and there she was. My granddaughter. 16 years old. Skinny. With messy hair. A backpack on her back, and a bruise on her arm. I hugged her. Tight. She clung to me and cried, Grandpa, I am sorry. I am so sorry. You do not have to apologize, my love. You did nothing wrong. I should have defended you sooner. I should have told her something when she kicked you out, Lily. You do not have to defend me. I am the adult. She pulled away. She looked at me with those eyes full of tears. But she has no right, Grandpa. She has no right to treat you like that. I nodded. I know. But it is over. And now you are here. And that is what matters. Lily sat next to me. She stared at me. Grandpa? Do you know what was the worst? I shook my head. The worst was not that Mom kicked you out. It was that I said nothing. I was in my room. I heard everything. The dinner. The laughter. What she told you. And I did not go down. I did not defend you. I stayed upstairs, crying, hating myself for being a coward. I grabbed her hand. Lily, no, Grandpa. Let me finish. When you left, I went down. I asked Mom where you were, and she said, he left, and he is not coming back, because she finally understood that he was extra here. And I told her, you are extra too, Mom. But no one has the courage to tell you. And she hit me, for the first time in my life. She hit me. She cried, and I did too. Lily greeted Oliver. He received her with a smile. Welcome, child, she smiled shyly. She sat on the sofa. I prepared tea for her. I gave her bread. She ate slowly. And then Oliver's phone rang again, this time. The name on the screen was clear. Ashley. Oliver looked at me. Do I answer? I took a deep breath. Yes, answer. Oliver answered. He put it on speaker, and then we heard Ashley's voice, screaming, desperate, furious. Where is my daughter Oliver, if my father has her there? I swear I am calling the police. Give her back to me right now. Lily tensed. I put a hand on her shoulder, and then I spoke. Calm. Firm. Ashley. It is me. Silence on the other end, and then her voice, broken, rabid. Dad. Give me back my daughter. It is okay. She is with me, and she is going to stay here until you calm down. You have no right. You had no right to hit her either. More silence. And then, with a trembling voice, she told you. Yes, she told me. Dad, I did not mean to. Yes, you did. And you did it. And now you're going to live with the consequences. What consequences? Lily stays with me. At least for now. And you are going to think about what you did. To me. To her. To everyone. I hung up. Ashley called again. I did not answer. She called 5 more times. I turned off the phone, and I looked at Lily. She looked at me with eyes full of tears. Thank you, Grandpa. I nodded, and for the first time in days I felt something like a purpose. Protecting my granddaughter, even if it was from her own mother. That night, Lily slept on the sofa. Oliver lent her blankets. I stayed awake, sitting in the kitchen, looking out the window. I could not sleep. I thought about Ashley, about her voice when she called, desperate, furious, but not sorry, never sorry, at 3 a.m. Oliver's phone rang again. He was asleep. I answered, hello, silence, and then a voice I had not heard in years. Edward, it was Irene, my sister, The youngest, 68 years old. She lived in the countryside. Since Rebecca died, we hardly spoke. Irene, thank God. Ashley called me. She said you had escaped, that you abandoned the house, that you are senile and dangerous. I closed my eyes. I am not senile, Irene. I know. That is why I am calling you. Ashley is saying horrible things. She says you mistreated her, that you stole money from her, that Lily is in danger with you. I felt something explode inside me. My voice came out louder than I wanted. Lily moved on the sofa. I lowered my tone. Irene, she kicked me out. She told me I was her stress, that I should leave, and I left. Irene sobbed on the other end. I know, brother. I know. That is why I am calling, because you need to know what she is saying. She is rewriting everything. She called half the world. The neighbors, her work. She even called Daniel. I tensed. Daniel? Yes. She told him you went crazy, that you need psychiatric help, that Lily manipulated you. I could not believe it. But at the same time, I could, because that was Ashley. When things did not go her way, she changed the story. Irene. Did you believe her? There was a silence. Long. Painful. At first, yes, I thought. My brother's old. Maybe he really is confused. But then I called Nathan, your neighbor. He told me everything. He told me about the dinner, what Ashley told you, how you left with a bag. And then I knew. My niece kicked you out. And now she is lying so she does not look bad. I felt relief. At least someone believed me. Thank you, Irene. Do not thank me. I should have called you sooner. I should have asked you how you were, but I was also tired, sick, and I thought Ashley was taking care of you. She was not taking care of me, Irene. She was tolerating me until she could not any more. Irene cried, Forgive me, brother. Forgive me for not being there. You do not have to apologize. No one has to apologize. Just know the truth. I know it, and I am going to tell everyone. I am going to call Ashley and tell her she is a liar, that what she did is wrong. No, Irene, do not do it. Why not? Because it is only going to make things worse. Leave her with her lies. I no longer need them to believe me. I just need peace. Irene sighed. Okay, but brother, come to my house. Please, do not stay there. I am fine here, Irene. Oliver is taking care of me. There was a silence, and then Irene said something that froze my blood. Edward, Daniel also wants to talk to you. I stayed silent. Daniel, my younger brother, 72 years old. We had not spoken for 8 years. Since our mother died, since we fought over the inheritance. He wanted to sell the house. I wanted to keep it because I had taken care of Mom until the end. We fought. He told me horrible things. You were always the favorite. Always you. I do not exist for this family. And he hung up, and he never called again. Until now. I do not want to talk to him, I said. Edward, he is sick. I felt something cold in my stomach. What cancer? Advanced. That is why he wants to talk to you. Before it is too late. I did not respond. I did not know what to say. Daniel. Sick. Dying. Like Oliver. Like Rebecca. Like everyone. Edward, give him a chance. Please. Irene. He told me I ruined his life. That because of me he was never happy. I know. And he regrets it. He told me crying. I want to ask Edward for forgiveness. Before I die. Please, brother. Talk to him. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath. Okay. Tell him to call me. Irene sighed in relief. Thank you. Thank you, brother. But Irene, if he comes with lies or manipulations, I am going to hang up. He will not. I promise you. We hung up. I stayed there, sitting, looking at the phone. Daniel. After 8 years, what could he tell me that would change anything? The next morning, while we were having breakfast, someone arrived at the door. Oliver opened. It was a woman, about 38 years old, thin, with a tired face, hair tied back. Mr. Oliver. He nodded. I am Sarah. Sarah Johnson. I do not know if you remember me. Oliver frowned, and then he remembered. The maid who worked at Ashley's house? She nodded. Yes. Is he here? I got up. I left the kitchen. I saw her, and something inside me broke. Because Sarah had been good to me. She treated me with respect. She listened to me, and Ashley had fired her without explanation. Sarah. She saw me, and her eyes filled with tears. Mr. Edward. Thank God. She entered. She sat down. I served her coffee. She was trembling. Mr. Edward, I tried to find you. I called the house. Ashley blocked me. I wrote to Lily. She told me you had left. And then I got Mr. Oliver's number from an old paper I had saved. Oliver nodded. She called me 2 days ago. I told her Edward was here. Sarah looked at me. I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you months ago. But I was afraid. I tensed. What? She took a deep breath. Ashley asked me to give you the wrong pills, to confuse the doses, to let you sleep more, to not wake you for meals. She said, the more he sleeps, the less he bothers. I felt as if they had thrown ice water on me. What Sarah nodded, crying. I did not do it. I swear I did not do it. That is why she fired me. Because I refused. I told her, Ma'am, that is abuse. I cannot do it. And she screamed at me. She told me I knew nothing, that her father was a manipulator, that I was a fool, and she fired me, without paying me for the last 2 weeks. Oliver put a hand on my shoulder. I could not speak. I could not breathe. Ashley had not only kicked me out, she had tried to sedate me, keep me asleep, so I would not bother, so I would not exist. Mr. Edward, I saved the messages. If you need to, I can show them to you. Lily, who had heard everything from the sofa, got up. She came toward me. She hugged me. Grandpa, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I did not know. I hugged her. Tight. It is not your fault, my love. None of this is your fault. Sarah wiped her tears. There is more. Ashley sold your medications, the ones that were left over. She sold them on the internet to get extra money. And the letters from the bank. She hid them. You have a pension, Mr. Edward, that they deposit every month, but she never gave it to you. She used it for her things. I felt rage, pure rage, not for the money, for the betrayal, for the lie, for the contempt. Why are you telling me this now? Sarah stared at me. Because when I found out Lily was here, I knew things were going to explode, and you need to know who you are dealing with. Ashley is not going to give up. She is coming, and she is going to lie. She is going to cry. She is going to manipulate. But she is not going to change, because she does not believe she did anything wrong. She believes you are the problem. And she is always going to believe that, and in that moment, with Sarah in front of me, with Lily hugging my side, with Oliver next to me, I understood. There was no turning back. My daughter had betrayed me in ways I could not even imagine, and I could no longer forgive her, because forgiving someone like that would be betraying myself. Sarah stayed for 2 hours. She showed us the messages, the conversations with Ashley, the orders, the threats. If you tell my father anything, I will sue you. You do not know what it is like to live with an old man in the house. Do what I say, or find another job. I read every message, and each one was a dagger. Lily read them too, and she cried. Mom, how could she? I had no answer, because I did not understand. I did not understand how my daughter, the girl I had carried in my arms, who I had taken to school, who I had comforted when she cried, had become this. Someone capable of hurting me without remorse. When Sarah left, I stayed sitting on the sofa. Lily was next to me, sniffing in her chair. Neither of us spoke until Lily said, Grandpa, there is something else you have to know. I looked at her. What? She got up. She went to her backpack. She took out an old notebook, with worn covers, with yellowed pages. I found this in Mom's room. It was hidden at the bottom of her closet. I think it belongs to Grandma. She handed it to me. I took it. My hands were trembling. It was Rebecca's diary. I recognized it by the handwriting, by the smell. Lavender. Her. Did you read it? I asked. Lily shook her head. No, I felt I shouldn't. It is yours. I opened the diary. The first pages were from years ago, decades, simple notes. Today Edward gave me flowers. Ashley took her first steps. We went to the movies. We laughed. Happy things, normal things. But toward the end, the entries changed. They became dark, sad. Ashley is changing. She no longer smiles like before. I asked her if she was okay. She yelled at me. She said not to meddle in her life. Edward does not realize it, but I do. Our daughter is leaving us behind. I turned the pages, and I arrived at the last entry, dated 3 days before Rebecca died, and what I read split me in two. I kept reading. Another entry. 2 years before her death. Today was Edward's birthday. Ashley did not come. She called. She said she had work. But I heard laughter in the background. She was at a bar, with friends, and she preferred that to being with her father. Edward pretended he did not care. But I saw it. I saw how the light went out of his eyes when he hung up the phone, and I did not know what to say. Because what do you tell a man whose own daughter forgot him? I turned another page. Ashley came, today, but not to see us, to ask us for money. Again. Edward gave her everything he had, and she did not even say thank you. She just grabbed the envelope and left. And I stayed thinking, when did she become like this? Was it our fault? Or are there people who are simply born without knowing how to love? Today, Ashley came to the hospital, not to see me, to ask me how much time I had left. I told her, little, weeks, maybe days, and she sighed, not out of sadness, out of relief, like someone lifting a weight. And then she said, and Dad, is he going to be okay alone? I told her, your dad is not going to be alone. He is going to have you. She laughed, a bitter laugh. Mom, I cannot take care of Dad. I have my life, my work, my daughter. I cannot, I told her. He is your father, Ashley. He needs you. And she stared at me. Mom, I did not choose him. You chose me. But I did not choose this. And she left, without saying goodbye, without hugging me. And I stayed there in that hospital bed knowing my daughter is going to reject her father, and there is nothing I can do to avoid it. I closed the diary. My hands were trembling. Lily looked at me. What does it say, Grandpa? I could not speak. I just passed her the diary. She read, and she put her hands to her mouth. No, it cannot be. Oliver read it too, and he shook his head. Rebecca knew. I nodded. Yes, she knew, and she could do nothing. Lily cried, Grandpa, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I hugged her. Do not apologize, my love. You are not your mother. You are different. She clung to me. I am never going to abandon you. Never. And I knew it was true, because Lily had Rebecca's heart, not Ashley's. I kept reading. There was more. A loose note, written with shaky handwriting, as if Rebecca could barely hold the pen. Edward, if you are reading this, it is because I am no longer here, and it is because something went wrong, something I feared. Ashley rejected you. I know. I saw it coming. For years I saw it, the way she looked at you, the way she sighed when you spoke, the way she avoided hugging you. I tried to talk to her. I tried to make her understand, but she did not want to listen. And now, my love, I tell you this. Do not go back. If she kicked you out, do not go back. Do not beg her. Do not humiliate yourself, because Ashley does not know how to love, and you deserve to be loved. Tears fell on the paper, staining the ink. Your place is not with her. Your place is where they receive you with open arms, where you do not have to apologize for existing, where you are not a burden. Look for Oliver. He was always your true brother, more than Daniel, more than anyone. Look for him, and stay with him, and live, Edward. Live without guilt, without shame, without apologizing for getting old, because getting old is not a crime. It is a privilege, and you deserve to live it in peace. I love you. I always loved you, and wherever I am, I'm going to be watching over you. Rebecca. I closed the diary. I pressed it against my chest, and I cried, like I had not cried since she died. Because Rebecca had known me, she had understood me, and she had given me permission to be happy without Ashley. Lily hugged me, Oliver put a hand on my shoulder, and we stayed like that. The three of us. In that old house, with that old diary, and those old truths that finally came to light. After a while, I calmed down, I wiped my face, and I said, Rebecca was right. I am not going back. Lily nodded. You do not have to go back, Grandpa. You can stay here. With me. With Mr. Oliver. Oliver smiled. This house is yours, Edward, for as long as you need. I nodded, and for the first time in days, I felt something like hope. It was not happiness, not yet, but it was something. It was the certainty that it was worth going on, that Rebecca was watching over me, even from death. That afternoon, someone knocked on the door. Oliver went to open it, and then I heard a voice, deep, hoarse, familiar. Is Edward here? Oliver turned toward me. He looked at me, as if asking. Do you want to see this person? I got up. I went to the door, and there he was. Daniel, my brother, 72 years old, but he looked 90, thin, pale, with deep circles under his eyes, with a cane, with clothes that were too big for him. And when he saw me, his eyes broke. Edward! I did not answer. I just looked at him. And I waited, because this time it was not going to be me who spoke first. This time he had to take the first step. Daniel looked down. Can I come in? Oliver looked at me. I nodded. Daniel entered. He sat on the sofa. I sat in front of him. Lily was in the kitchen. Oliver, too. Giving us space. Daniel looked at me and said, I came to ask for your forgiveness. I did not answer. I just waited. He continued. What I told you 8 years ago was wrong. I was angry, resentful, jealous. Mom always preferred you, and I never got over it. But that justifies nothing. You took care of her. You sacrificed yourself, and I just wanted money. He broke down, and now I am dying, and I realize that I wasted 8 years. 8 years in which I could have been with you, in which I could have been your brother. I felt something in my chest. It was not forgiveness, not yet, but it was something. It was understanding, because Daniel was also alone. He was also scared. He was also dying without anyone to take care of him. Why are you coming now? I asked. Daniel looked at me. Because Irene told me what Ashley did to you, and I saw myself reflected in her, the same rage, the same resentment, the same inability to love, and I do not want to die being like her. I do not want to die hating you. I closed my eyes, I took a deep breath, and I said, I do not hate you, Daniel. I never hated you. It just hurt that you left me. He nodded. I know. And I am sorry. I really am sorry. And in that moment, in that house, with that sick brother in front of me, I understood. Forgiveness does not erase the pain, but it does allow you to move forward. And I was already tired of carrying grudges. Daniel and I stayed there, sitting, looking at each other. 8 years had passed since the last time. 8 years of silence, of resentment, of words that were never said. He looked so sick, so fragile, so broken. How much time do you have left? I asked. He looked down. 3 months, maybe less. I nodded. I am sorry. He shook his head. Do not be sorry. I deserve it. For everything I did to you. For everything I told you. Oliver appeared with coffee. He served it to us in silence. Lily was still in the kitchen, listening. Daniel took a sip, and then he said, Edward, I need you to listen to me, without judging me. Just listen to me. When Mom died, I was furious. Not with you. With life. Because I also took care of her. I was also there. But she only talked about you. Edward does this. Edward is so good. I was invisible. And when she died and left the house in your name, I felt like they were erasing me again. His voice broke. But it was not your fault. It was mine, for not knowing how to handle my own demons. And I hurt you. I told you horrible things, things I did not feel. I looked at him, and I saw sincerity, or at least what seemed like sincerity. And now what do you want now? He took a deep breath. I want you to come live with me. I have a big house, 3 bedrooms, a nurse. You can bring Lily. We can be a family again. I felt something stir inside me. Family. After 8 years, after everything, but at the same time. Daniel was my brother, my blood, and he was dying. Why now? I asked again. He wiped his eyes. Because Ashley called me. She told me you had left, that you were senile, that Lily was in danger, and I believed her, at first. But then I called Irene, and she told me the truth. She told me what Ashley did to you, and I saw myself reflected in her, the same cruelty, the same selfishness, and I do not want to die being like her. I do not want to die knowing I was just as cruel to you. I swallowed hard, because his words sounded real. They sounded honest. Edward, give me a chance, just one. Let me make it up to you. Let me take care of you. Lily came out of the kitchen. She looked at me, with those eyes that said, Grandpa, do not trust so fast. But Daniel seemed genuine. He seemed repentant. I do not know, Daniel. I need to think about it. He nodded. It is okay. Take your time. But think about it, please. He got up. He walked toward the door, and then, just before leaving, he turned around. Oh, there is one more thing. Something in his tone changed. It became colder, more calculated. What thing? I asked. He hesitated, and then he let it out. I need you to forgive me officially. Before a notary. Because there is a pending inheritance from Mom, a property in the countryside. And if you forgive me legally, we can divide it. I froze. Oliver, too. Lily clenched her fists. What? My voice came out low. Dangerous. Daniel raised his hands. It is not what you think. It is just a legal formality. We both need to agree to sell. And the lawyer says that if there is a documented reconciliation, the process is faster. I stared at him. Daniel. Did you come for me or for the money? He tensed. I came for you. The money is just a pending issue. No, my voice was firm. You came for the money. All this, the cancer, the apologies, the big house. Everything was so I would sign. Daniel paled. No, Edward. Get out. Edward, please. Get out, Daniel. Get out now. He looked at me, looking for some sign that he could convince me. But he did not find it. Because I had already seen that play before. With Ashley, with Gary, with everyone who used me and then discarded me. Edward, I'm sorry. You are not sorry. You just feel that you lost your opportunity. Daniel pressed his lips together, and without saying anything else, he left. The door closed, and I stayed there, standing, feeling a strange mixture. It was not sadness, it was not rage, it was relief. Because this time I had not fallen. This time I had seen the trap before stepping on it. Lily came to me. Grandpa, you did good. I nodded. I know, my love, I know. I sat down. My hands were trembling, not from fear, from rage, but also from something else, from pride, because for the first time in my life I had said no to someone who wanted to use me. Rebecca always told me, Edward, you are too good, and people know it, and they use it, and I would answer her, it is my family, my love. What do you want me to do? And she looked at me sadly. Value yourself. Know that you do not have to give all of yourself for them to love you. I closed my eyes. I learned, Rebecca. It took me 79 years, but I learned. Oliver approached. That man is not going to change. I know. But you did change. I looked at him. What do you mean? He smiled. A week ago, you would have said yes, to not disappoint, to not look bad, to not be alone. But now you said no, because you know you deserve more. I felt something warm in my chest, because he was right. I had changed. I was no longer the man who let himself be humiliated in silence. I was no longer the man who accepted crumbs of affection. Now I was someone who knew his worth, someone who knew that being alone was better than being in bad company, and that simple certainty gave me strength. We sat down. Lily made more coffee, and while we drank, we heard something outside, a noise, engines, sirens. We looked at each other. Oliver frowned. "What is that?" He went to the window, and then, with a tense voice, he said, "It is the police." My heart stopped. What Lily ran to the window. "Grandpa, there are 3 patrol cars." I got up. I went to the door. I opened it, and there they were, 3 patrol cars. With their lights on, 6 police officers got out. One of them, a man of about 40 with an impeccable uniform, walked toward me. Edward Sanchez. I nodded with a dry throat. "It is me." He took out a notebook. "We have a complaint of kidnapping of a minor. Lily Sanchez." Is she here? I felt as if the ground opened under my feet. Kidnapping. The officer nodded. "Your daughter, Ashley Sanchez, filed a formal complaint. She alleges that you removed the minor from the home without her consent, that you have her held against her will." Lily came out, with eyes full of tears. "That is a lie. I ran away. My grandpa did not kidnap me." The officer looked at her. "Miss, are you Lily Sanchez?" She nodded. "Yes." "Are you here of your own free will?" "Yes. My mom hit me. She humiliated me, and I decided to leave." The officer wrote it down. He looked at his partner. "We need to speak with you, Mr. Edward, and with the minor. You will have to come to the precinct to make a statement." Oliver came out. "Officer, this man did not kidnap anyone. The girl arrived on her own. I am a witness." The officer looked at him. "And you are Oliver Stone, owner of this house." The officer nodded. "You will also have to make a statement." Lily grabbed my arm. "Grandpa, do not let them take me back to her." I hugged her. "I am not going to allow it, my love." But in that moment, I saw a car arrive, behind the patrol cars. It was Ashley. She got out of the car, disheveled, with red eyes, with wrinkled clothes. She walked toward us, and when she saw me, she screamed, "There he is. That is the man who stole my daughter." The officer raised his hand. "Ma'am, calm down." But Ashley did not calm down. She kept screaming, "He is senile. He is dangerous." "Give me back my daughter." Lily hid behind me. Trembling, the officer looked at me. "Mr. Edward, you're going to have to accompany us." I nodded. "Okay. But Lily comes with me. I am not leaving her with her." Ashley stepped forward. "Lily is my daughter, not yours." The officer stepped in between. "Ma'am, everyone is going to the precinct. It will be resolved there." Ashley looked at me with hate, pure hate, and in that moment I understood. My daughter had not only kicked me out, she had not only lied to me. Now she was accusing me of a crime, to regain control, to win, so that I would come crawling back. But this time it was not going to work, because this time I had witnesses. I had Lily. I had Oliver. And I had the truth. And the truth, for the first time in my life, was on my side. They put us in the patrol cars, me in one, Lily in another, Ashley in a third. Oliver asked to go with me. The officer accepted. During the ride, no one spoke. I looked out the window. I saw the city pass by, and I thought, how did we get to this? How can a family destroy itself so completely? We arrived at the precinct. It was an old building, with peeling walls and a smell of dampness. They took us inside. They took me to a room. Lily to another. Ashley to another. A detective arrived, a man of about 50, with a tired face and a loose tie. "Mr. Edward, tell me what happened." I took a deep breath, and I told everything. From the dinner, from the sentence, from my exit, from Lily's arrival. The detective wrote it down, without judging, without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "Do you have witnesses?" "Yes, Oliver, Sarah, the former maid, Patrick, the bus driver, Betty, the baker. He nodded. We are going to call them. Meanwhile, stay here. He left. I stayed alone in that cold room, with a metal table and 2 chairs. The walls were gray. There was a small window with bars, and I felt, for the first time, like a criminal, like someone who had done something bad. But I had not done anything. I had only protected my granddaughter. I had only told the truth, and for that they treated me like a delinquent. 2 hours passed, or maybe more. I do not know. I lost track of time, until the detective returned, with a folder. He sat in front of me. Mr. Edward, I spoke with the miner, with your friend Oliver, and I called Sarah Johnson. He opened the folder. Everyone says the same thing, that you did not kidnap anyone, that the miner ran away of her own free will, that there is evidence of emotional abuse by the mother. I felt relief. So, can I go? He raised a hand. Not so fast. I also spoke with your daughter. She says you are senile, that you have memory problems, that you represent a danger to the miner. I clenched my fists. That is a lie. The detective stared at me. I know, because I also reviewed your medical history. With your permission, I called your previous doctor, Dr. Ramirez. He says you are perfectly lucid, that there are no signs of dementia or cognitive deterioration. In fact, he told me your daughter canceled several appointments without justification. I breathed relieved again. So, Mr. Edward, there is no kidnapping case. But there is a minor who does not want to return to her mother, and that is a problem. I swallowed hard. What is going to happen to Lily? The detective closed the folder. A judge decides that. We are going to summon both of you to a hearing. Meanwhile, Lily can stay with you, but under supervision of social services. Social services. He nodded. A social worker is going to visit the house where Lily is. She is going to evaluate the conditions, and she is going to make a report. The judge will read it and decide. I nodded. Okay, I will do whatever is necessary. The detective got up. You can go, but do not leave the city, and keep Lily safe. I got up. I left the room. And there was Lily, sitting on a bench, with Oliver by her side. When she saw me, she ran to me. She hugged me. Grandpa, what did they say that you can stay with me? For now, she cried with relief. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you. I hugged her tight, and I looked toward the hallway. Ashley was there, looking at me, with eyes full of tears, but not of sadness, of rage, of defeat. We left the precinct. It was night. The air was cold. Oliver called a taxi. We returned to New Hope in silence. When we arrived, Oliver made tea. Lily sat on the sofa. I sat next to her. And then, for the first time in hours, I breathed. Grandpa, do you think the judge will let me stay with you? Lily asked. I looked at her. I do not know, my love, but I am going to fight. I am going to do everything in my power so you can stay. She nodded. I am going to fight too. Oliver sat with us. You are both going to be fine. I will make sure of that. And in that moment, in that humble house, with those loyal people, I felt something I had not felt in years. Family. The next day, I woke up early. I had things to do. Things I could not postpone. I went to the bank with the help of Betty, who accompanied me. I managed to transfer my pension to a new account, in my name. Ashley would no longer have access. The bank employee looked at me with compassion. Mr. Edward, your daughter tried to block this transfer. I looked at him. When yesterday, she called saying you were not in your right mind, but we need a court order to block an account, and she does not have it. I nodded. Thank you. I left the bank feeling stronger, more in control of my life. For the first time in years, I controlled my money. I controlled my decisions. That afternoon, Valerie, the nurse from the health center, came to visit us. Oliver had called her. Mr. Edward, I heard what happened. I nodded. Yes, it was complicated. She sat down. You need a lawyer, someone to represent you at the hearing. I know one. His name is Ethan Lawson. He's good, and he does not charge much. I thanked her. She gave me the number. I called that same afternoon. Ethan came the next day. He was a man of about 60, with thick glasses and an old briefcase, but he spoke with assurance, with knowledge. Mr. Edward, your case is strong. You have witnesses. You have evidence. And you have a minor who clearly does not want to return to her mother. We can win this. I felt hope. Real hope. The following days were intense. Ethan asked for statements. Sarah gave a statement. Patrick gave a statement. Betty gave a statement. Even Nathan, the ex-military neighbor, gave a statement. Everyone said the same thing. Ashley had kicked me out. She had humiliated me, and Lily had run away of her own free will. Meanwhile, Lily and I settled into Oliver's house. She slept in the back room, I on the sofa. Oliver insisted on giving me his bed, but I did not accept. You are sick. You need to rest. He smiled. And you too. But you are more stubborn than me? We laughed, and in the middle of the chaos, we found peace. Small moments of peace that kept us alive. Lily started helping Betty in the bakery. A few hours in the morning. Betty paid her a little, and Lily saved. For when I have to go to college, she said. I looked at her with pride. Because my granddaughter was strong. She was resilient. She was everything her mother was not. I, for my part, started giving volunteer classes at the community center, history for seniors, Arthur. The blind neighbor Oliver introduced me to was my first student. Mr. Edward, I want to learn. Even if I cannot see, I can listen. And he listened, with attention, with hunger for knowledge, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Purpose. I was still useful. I still mattered. I could still give something to the world. Martha, the grumpy neighbor, came by one day with casseroles. For you and the girl. Do not waste them. Lily thanked her. Thank you, Mrs. Martha. The woman nodded, and before leaving, she looked at me. You were reborn, Mr. Edward. It shows. And she left. Frank came another day. Mr. Edward, on Saturday we play dominoes. Are you coming? I nodded. I am coming. And I went, and I played, and I lost. But it did not matter. Because I was alive. Because I was surrounded by people who loved me. Because for the first time in years, I was not a nuisance. I was Mr. Edward, the teacher, the friend, the grandfather, and that simple affirmation of my existence, gave me back the desire to live, the desire to fight, the desire to win. 3 weeks passed, 3 weeks of preparation, of nerves, of fear. The hearing was scheduled for a Tuesday at 10 in the morning. Ethan, my lawyer, came the night before. Mr. Edward, tomorrow is going to be hard. Ashley has a lawyer too, and they are going to attack you. They are going to say you are old, that you cannot take care of a teenager, that Lily needs her mother. I looked at him, and what are we going to say? He smiled. The truth, that Lily is better with you, that she has stability, that she has love, and that her mother mistreated her. I nodded, but the fear was still there, because the truth does not always win. Sometimes. The system protects those who do not deserve it. That night I did not sleep. I stayed awake, looking at the ceiling, thinking about everything that could go wrong. What if the judge did not believe me? What if she decided Lily had to go back to Ashley? What if they took my granddaughter away from me? Lily did not sleep either. I heard her get up several times. Go to the bathroom, come back. At 6 in the morning, I got up. I went to the kitchen. She was already there, sitting at the table, with her hands holding an empty cup. Couldn't you sleep? I asked. She shook her head. I am scared, Grandpa. I sat next to her. I grabbed her hand. Me too. But we are going to be okay. Whatever happens, we are going to be okay. We arrived at the courthouse at 9. Ethan was waiting for us at the entrance. Ready, I nodded. Lily too. We entered. It was a cold building, with long hallways and a smell of old paper. We sat in a waiting room, and then I saw her. Ashley. She was sitting on the other side, with her lawyer, a young man, with an expensive suit and an arrogant face. Ashley looked at me, and I returned the look. She looked different, thinner, with deep circles under her eyes, with dull hair, but her eyes still had that hardness, that coldness, that inability to accept she was wrong. Lily squeezed my hand. Do not look at her, Grandpa. I'm not afraid of looking at her, my love. They called us. We entered the room. The judge was a woman, of about 55 years, with glasses and a serious expression. Good morning, I am Judge Vance. We are here to resolve the temporary custody of the minor, Lily Sanchez. Mrs. Ashley, you have the floor. Ashley's lawyer got up. Your Honor, my client is a responsible mother, hard-working, who has taken care of her daughter for 16 years. Mr. Edward, with all due respect, is a 79-year-old man. He does not have the resources or the energy to take care of a teenager. Besides, he removed the minor from the home without the mother's consent. That constitutes kidnapping. Ethan got up. Objection, Your Honor. There was no kidnapping. The minor ran away of her own free will. We have statements that prove it. Besides, there is evidence of emotional and physical abuse by the mother. Ashley's lawyer smiled. Abuse Mrs. Ashley never hit her daughter. There was an argument, normal between a mother and teenage daughter. Nothing more. Lily tensed next to me. Ethan looked at the judge. Your Honor, the minor has a bruise on her arm, documented by social services, and there are witnesses who confirm the emotional abuse. The judge wrote it down. Let's continue. Does Mr. Edward want to say something? I got up, with my legs trembling. Yes, Your Honor. I did not steal my granddaughter. She came to me because she had nowhere else to go, because her mother hit her, because her mother kicked me out of the house without reason. I just want to take care of her. Give her a home. Give her love. I know I am old. I know I am not perfect, but I love her, and she loves me, and that has to count for something. I sat down. The judge looked at me. Mr. Edward, do you have a stable place to live? Yes, with my friend Oliver. And do you have income? Yes, my pension. And I work at the neighborhood bakery. The judge wrote it down. And you, Lily? What do you want? Lily got up, with tears in her eyes. I want to stay with my grandpa. My mom does not love me. She only keeps me because she is ashamed that people know I left. Ashley's lawyer got up. Your Honor, the minor is being manipulated. It is obvious the grandfather put ideas in her head. Lily looked at him with rage. No one manipulated me. My mom hit me. My mom kicked my grandpa out. I saw it all. The judge raised her hand. Order. Lily, sit down. Lily sat down, trembling. I put a hand on her shoulder. The judge looked at the papers. I have here the report from social services. It says the minor is in good conditions at Mr. Edwards' house, that she has emotional stability, that she attends school, that there are no signs of danger. Ashley's lawyer tensed. But, Your Honor, it is temporary. A man of his age cannot. A man of his age, interrupted the judge, has taken care of this girl better than her own mother in the last weeks. That is what the report says. I felt a ray of hope. The judge called Betty. She entered. Nervous, she sat down. Mrs. Betty. You know Mr. Edward. Correct, yes, Your Honor. For 40 years. How would you describe him? Betty looked at me. Her eyes filled with tears. Mr. Edward he's one of those people one does not find anymore. Honest, hard-working, generous. When my husband died, he was the only one who came to the wake, and he brought food, so I would not have to cook. And when I opened the bakery, he lent me money, without interest, without papers, just trust. The judge wrote it down, and with Lily, how is he? With Lily, he's a real grandfather, not one of those who give money and leave. He listens to her, he respects her, he treats her like a person. And Lily adores him. You can see it. Betty wiped her eyes. If anyone deserves to take care of that girl, it is him. Then the judge continued. However, the law is clear. Custody belongs to the parents. unless there is compelling evidence of grave abuse. And here, although there is emotional mistreatment, there is not enough to remove custody permanently. I felt as if my heart were being ripped out. But, Your Honor, she raised her hand. Let me finish. I'm going to order a psychological evaluation of both, of the mother and the grandfather, and an evaluation of the minor. That will take 2 months. Meanwhile, temporary custody stays with Mr. Edward. I breathed, relieved, but only a little, because 2 months was not forever. 2 months was just a breather. Ashley's lawyer protested. Your Honor, that is unfair. My client has the right to see her daughter. The judge nodded, and she will have it. I order supervised visits, once a week, in a neutral place. Social services will coordinate. Ashley got up. No, I want my daughter back. The judge stared at her. Mrs. Ashley, your daughter does not want to return to you, and I have to consider her opinion. Sit down. Ashley sat down, with a red face, with clenched hands. And I knew this was not over. This was just beginning. We left the courthouse. Lily hugged me. Grandpa, we won. We did not win, my love. We only have more time. Ethan nodded. Mr. Edward is right. This is going to continue. Ashley is not going to give up. But we have an advantage. The truth is on our side. That afternoon, when we returned home, Oliver was waiting for us with coffee. How did it go? Good, more or less. I told him everything. He nodded. 2 months is enough time to prepare, to gather more proof, to show that Lily is better here. And then, that night, while Lily slept, I stayed awake, thinking, planning, because I knew. The next hearing would be the definitive one, and I could not lose it. I was not going to lose Lily, not after everything we had been through. During the following weeks, something unexpected happened. Ashley started coming to the supervised visits, but not to see Lily, to attack me. Dad, this is ridiculous. Give me back my daughter. It is not my decision, Ashley. It is the judge's decision. You manipulated her. You put ideas in her head. No, you hurt her. And she decided to leave. The visits were tense, painful. Lily barely spoke to her mother, and Ashley, instead of trying to reconnect. Only accused, only attacked. And every visit, the social worker wrote notes. And I knew those notes were going to help me, because they showed who Ashley really was, and who I was. And in the end, when the final hearing arrived, the truth was going to speak louder than the lies. 2 months later, we returned to the courthouse, this time, with more evidence, with more witnesses, with more hope. Judge Vance entered. We all stood up. She sat down. She opened a folder. I have reviewed the psychological evaluations, the minor's evaluations, and the reports from the supervised visits. She looked at Ashley. Mrs. Ashley, the evaluation shows that you have high levels of stress, anxiety, and difficulty managing emotions. It also shows a lack of empathy toward your daughter. Ashley's lawyer got up. Your Honor, my client has been under a lot of pressure. That does not mean she cannot take care of her daughter. The judge looked at him. Sit down. Mr. Edward, your evaluation shows that you are in full mental capacity, that there are no signs of dementia, that you have emotional stability, and that you have a strong bond with your granddaughter. I felt relief, but the judge continued. However, there is a concern, your age and your health. The medical report says you have high blood pressure, that you need constant medication, and that statistically at your age, health complications are common. I felt a knot in my throat. Your Honor, I take care of myself. I take my medication, and I have support. Oliver, my friend, Betty, Sarah. Everyone helps me. The law requires me to consider the long-term well-being of the minor, Ashley's lawyer smiled, like someone who knows he already won. Your Honor, it is clear. The minor must return to her mother. It is natural. It is correct. Ethan got up. Your Honor, With all due respect, the natural thing is not always the correct thing. The correct thing is what protects the minor, and the minor is at risk with her mother. The judge raised her hand. You both have valid points, but there is something you have not considered. She looked at us all. Lily's opinion. She turned toward my granddaughter. Lily, you are 16 years old. You are old enough for your opinion to have legal weight. What do you want? Lily got up. With trembling legs, but with a firm voice, I want to stay with my grandpa. I know he is old. I know he can get sick, but he takes care of me. He listens to me. He respects me. My mom only sees me as a burden, as something she has to tolerate. I do not want to live like that. I prefer to be with someone who truly loves me, even if it is for a short time, than with someone who has me only out of obligation. Her words resonated in the room. The judge wrote it down. Ashley got up. Lily, that is not true. I love you. Lily looked at her with tears. No, Mom, you do not love me, and I no longer need you. Ashley paled. She sat down, as if she had been hit. The judge closed the folder. I have made a decision, but before that I want to say something. She looked at us all. This case has made me reflect on what it means to be family, on what it means to care, and on what it means to love. She paused. Mrs. Ashley has the legal right to her daughter. That is indisputable. But the legal right does not always coincide with emotional well-being. I felt my heart beating fast. I have decided to grant legal custody to Mr. Edward Sanchez, with supervision by social services every 3 months. Mrs. Ashley will have the right to visits, but only if the minor agrees. I felt as if the world stopped. Had I heard correctly, Lily grabbed my arm. Grandpa, did we win? The judge continued. However, given Mr. Edward's age, I order that a subsidiary guardian be appointed, someone who can take charge of Lily in case Mr. Edward can no longer do so. Is there anyone? Ethan got up, Your Honor. Sarah Johnson, former domestic employee of Mr. Edward, has expressed her willingness to be a subsidiary guardian. The judge nodded. Perfect. Let her be contacted for the legal procedures. She banged the gavel. Session closed. And in that moment, everything exploded. Lily cried. I cried. Ethan smiled. And Ashley got up and left. Without saying anything, without looking back, we left the courthouse. The sun was shining. The air was fresh. And I felt something I had not felt in years. Victory. Not a victory over Ashley, a victory over fear, over loneliness, over the feeling that I was no longer worth anything. Lily hugged me. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you for fighting for me. I hugged her tight. I am always going to fight for you, my love. Always. Ethan congratulated us. Mr. Edward, you made history. Not many grandparents win cases like this. I smiled. I did not win. The truth won, and we went home, to New Hope, to that old neighborhood where I had been reborn. 6 months later, life settled down. Lily transferred schools. Now she went to one near New Hope. She made friends. She laughed more. She slept better. Oliver continued fighting cancer. Some days he was better, others worse, but he always smiled. Edward, if I die tomorrow, I die happy, because I have you here. And that is more than I expected. I smiled too, because I knew it was true. Frank kept inviting us to play dominoes. Mr. Edward, you already won 3 times. You are cheating. I laughed. I am not cheating. I am just good. Betty kept giving me work at the bakery. Mr. Edward, tomorrow I need help with the inventory. I will be there, Betty. Martha kept bringing casseroles. For you, for the girl, and for Oliver. Do not waste them. Arthur, the blind neighbor, kept coming to my history classes. Mr. Edward, tell me about the Civil War. And I told him, with passion, with life, because teaching made me feel useful. It made me feel alive. Irene visited us every month. She brought food, medicine, affection. Brother, I am happy to see you like this, and I was happy too. Because for the first time in years, I was not a nuisance. I was necessary. I mattered. And that changed everything. One afternoon, I was sitting on the porch. Lily brought coffee. "Grandpa, what are you thinking about?" I looked at her. "About your grandmother. About what she told me in her diary. Love is not blood. It is a choice." Lily smiled. She was right. I nodded. "Yes, it took me 79 years to understand it. But now I understand." Oliver came out with the newspaper. He sat next to me. "What are you talking about?" "About love, about family, about choices." He smiled. "Good conversations." Betty passed by on the street. "Mr. Edward, tomorrow at 7, I raise my hand. I will be there." And in that moment, looking at Lily, at Oliver, at Betty, at that neighborhood that had received me with open arms, I understood something. I had won. Not against Ashley, against abandonment, against loneliness, against the idea that getting old was disappearing. And if you, who are listening to my story, have ever felt disposable, if they ever told you that you were a nuisance, if those who said they loved you ever rejected you, I want you to know something. You're not alone. I also went through that, and I survived. Not because I was strong, but because I found people who chose me, people who saw me, people who loved me without asking me to apologize for existing. And you can also find those people, that chosen family, that place where you matter. Do not give up. Do not be silent. Do not let yourself be erased, because you are worth it. Even if no one tells you, even if no one shows you, you are worth it. Have those who said they loved you ever rejected you? Tell me down below. You are not alone. If this story touched your heart, leave me a like and subscribe. Every day I share stories that could be yours. Thank you for getting here. Truly, see you in the next story.